Hello, and welcome to Real Takes and Movie Breaks. I am Michael. You'll notice Kim is not here right now. I decided to do a solo video on this one topic because we just finished live streaming Squid Game Season 3, and I had some thoughts. And I wanted to just express those thoughts just straight out, really fast. And it's basically just one thing that I think could have made this a better resolution to what happens at the end. So there is spoilers here. I can't pronounce all the characters' names, so I'm just going to fast track it and give their sort of formal title. But he jumps off the platform and he says that human beings are not cattle or not horses, where human beings are good, and he sacrifices himself, in essence defeating the front man. I guess the front man was trying to turn Gi-hun into someone who sort of submits to the game. The game will win, and humanity cannot transcend the game. Human beings are not good. The game will dictate who lives and who dies and who wins and who advances or whatever. The front man kind of realizes that Gi-hun sort of won the battle of philosophy by sacrificing himself. I sort of feel that this sort of rings hollow. If you go through season 2 and season 3, it sort of feels like, in a lot of ways, you're sort of rehashing the same ground that you went through with Gi-hun and Sang Woo in season 1. And in essence, what really ends up happening is season 2 and 3 combined almost are sort of a lesser retelling of season 1, a sort of a lesser, almost the same way I sort of compared it when we were watching it to the Matrix sequels. The first Matrix being this masterpiece of cinema, great ideas, groundbreaking, a lot like Squid Game season 1, and then 2 and 3, Reloaded and Revolutions, were sort of this odd sort of retelling where it becomes very convoluted, and in the end, Neo, spoiler, sacrifices himself to save Zion. And I think that that's sort of essentially what we sort of see here is, the island blows up, the detective shows up and sees his brother, and he asks him, like, why, when he's holding the gun up, and the front man just sort of looks, glances, but then walks away. And then the front man gets Gi-hun's money, gives it to his daughter, and rides off into the sunset before seeing Kate Blanchett playing the recruiting game right before we cut to title. So my idea to fix this would be, in the final game, we have this sort of setup where on each platform you have to vote to push someone off, at least one person off. So we have like 7 players left, and they're all not very prolific characters throughout the season as much. The mother of the baby has died. The old lady and her son have died. The father, the bad guy, Thanos's sidekick character, the sort of bad guy, he's died. We're all going to kind of vote to push someone off, but then we're going to screw up because we're going to get worried that everyone's working against us, and we're not going to do what's best for the group. And then they all start fighting each other, and then one by one it ends up being Gi-hun, the baby, and the baby's father at the very end. So we're on that final platform, and the father is demanding that Gi-hun hand over the baby so he can throw the baby off, hit the button, and then walk away with the money. I think it's a mistake to reveal that the father intends to kill the baby in that moment. I think that at that point, you see, even though it's sloppy that we got to that point and it's contrived, like there's no way the baby's going to get through all of this with these brutal games in this environment and survive. But let's just say somehow Gi-hun is that much of a badass, he can protect the baby. So let's say we get the baby to this point, and Gi-hun has to make a choice because he can't cross the thing because the guy has the pole, so he can't cross to get across the bridge to the final platform. So Gi-hun's sort of at a standstill. He can't get across, so he's got to figure out a way. So Gi-hun, let's just say that Gi-hun is like wanting to cross the bridge, and either so the father cannot trust Gi-hun that Gi-hun's going to actually sacrifice himself. The father is going to be thinking, Gi-hun's going to try to push me off. Let's think of it through, think it through logically, because I think one of the issues with the season is that the logic falls apart in a lot of parts. So the father, because the father knows Gi-hun is probably going to try to push me off instead of sacrificing himself, I can't let him cross over with the baby. I have to have him give me the baby before he gets a chance to cross over, so that way I can push the button and throw the baby off. So instead of telling Gi-hun, I'm gonna throw the baby off, convince Gi-hun I can't trust you. I don't trust you, Gi-hun, but I need you to trust me. I'm gonna get the baby, and I'm gonna push the button. I'm the baby's father. I'm gonna sacrifice myself. So give the baby. Let me do this. I'm a changed man. So if he could convince Gi-hun that Gi-hun has actually gotten through to him, that you're right, Gi-hun, the game is, we're more than, human beings are more than this game. We are better than this game. Give me the baby. That's my baby. Give me the baby. Let me do this. Okay, I have to do this. You already went through it before. Gi-hun would then be in a moment where he's like, is he really going to sacrifice himself? Is he going to do that? Should I let him do that? Should I allow the father to make that decision? That would be that's where Gi-hun would be basically like, did I win? Have I broken the game? Have I gotten through these people? And then it's also, while all of this is going on, the detectives are breaking into the cop is breaking into the compound. So instead of the front man being alerted to there's someone on the island, they're so distracted by what's going on at this point in the final game that the detective is getting into the island. So he's getting in and getting through before they can have a chance to actually escape. So that's going on. So Gi-hun finally, in this moment of like, I think I trust the father, hands over the baby. Everybody's expecting, there's no way they're going to kill the baby. Everybody's thinking that. You can't kill a baby. Okay? They said, going into the season, this was going to be the darkest season ever of Squid Game. What would be darker than a father killing his own baby? I can't think of anything darker than that. That would have been so subversive and completely like, I can't believe it. Gi-hun gave him the baby, the father hits the button, and then the father tosses the baby. At that moment, the game's over. Gi-hun and the father are the winners, and that's it. At that moment, the front man thinks he's won. The front man sees the father kill the baby, but then Gi-hun is also left being the fool. Because a lot of times in the show, and especially in season 1, Gi-hun is sort of left being the fool, and because he's the fool, he'll oftentimes somehow magically get through to the end. So my idea is that Gi-hun in this final moment is actually a fool to think that he could actually beat the game in this way. However, in all of the hoopla, that's when the detectives come in and actually arrest everybody. So the detective gets he catches his brother, the front man, and the VIP, and maybe some of the VIPs. Maybe some of the VIPs escape, but like one of the VIPs gets caught. So then the game is exposed, but the winner, the father, does he get his money? I don't know. Maybe he gets his money. I haven't worked all those details out, but basically, like after that, Gi-hun has essentially accomplished his mission. He has taken down the game. The game has been destroyed. The front man's been arrested. So that would set up a final scene with the brother and the front man, where the brother can go see the front man. They can have a moment where he realizes, like, you're all that matters to me, or family's all that matters to me, or the human connection. Like, the front man could have a change of heart at this point or something, where there would be a positive connection between him and the brother. Then, whatever machinations have to happen with the father and the daughter, and maybe whatever money he has left he gives to her. Maybe she says, "I don't want to see you again," and he's like, "That's okay. I'll be there if you ever need me." And then he gives her his money or something. Then, the last thing, the father of the baby, okay, he's left. Maybe he gets his winnings, or he gets called in. Something happens where he gets called in, and we get one more scene with some twist of some sort. And you could have done anything. You could have had the woman who was the old lady. You could have had the old man from season 1 come back, for all I know. Like, there's a lot of things you could have done, but the father is brought in to some place or whatever, and it's basically them saying, like, we're going to start the game again. You won last time. We want you to front man. And because the father killed his own child, he becomes the front man. And he also, maybe he blames Gi-hun or something, or like he has some vendetta or something, and so it's left just hanging that something else could happen, and Gi-hun doesn't die. I think Gi-hun dying causes a lot of strife with the viewers. Like, that's not satisfying. It's symbolic that he kills himself, but ultimately doesn't really do anything with the plot. It's like, who cares, So I think that something to that effect. And it wouldn't have to be exactly what I'm saying, but it's something to that effect. I think it fixes the story just enough where we get we're satisfied. Now, the season isn't as good as both season 2 and season 1, or season 3, it's not as good as season 1. But if the ending was satisfying in a way that because there were loose threads at the end of season 1, if you wrap those threads up enough, and you gave, like, it would almost be like, well, I didn't like 2 and 3 as good as 1, but it wrapped up some things that season 1 didn't wrap up, and I like it because of that. I kind of like at the end of Back to the Future. It's like Back to the Future 3 wraps up a few things that you didn't really get at the end of Back to the Future 1, and even though it's not necessary, it's kind of like, okay, that's a nice conclusion. I can move on now, or even like Return of the Jedi. So that's my idea. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Please like and subscribe to our channel. I'm always trying to do stuff like this where I think through what would be a better way to have done the same story, and could you have sort of still kind of wrapped it around and changed it, or done something else that would, because a lot of people that watch the show are kind of disappointed with how it concluded, and I thought, okay, this is one way, because the big thing with Squid Game, I think one of the great things about it was always that it was unpredictable. It was like, what? They did that? No way. And I think that's like the fun of that show. So let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys, and stay real. Have great takes.